Hello everyone, and we hope you're having a wonderful holiday weekend. I spent part of mine in Roswell, New Mexico, where apparently extraterrestrials celebrate the 4th of July too. If you've never been, it's quite a sight. Flying saucers, little green aliens, costumes everywhere, and people having a great time. But now it's time to come back down to Earth.
Welcome to Western Water Weekly, your source of plain-spoken news highlights from the Colorado River Basin states.
When California passed the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act more than a decade ago, the idea sounded simple: stop pumping groundwater faster than nature can replace it. Unfortunately, finding practical ways to make that happen has been anything but simple. One common solution has been to leave farmland idle. After all, an empty field doesn't need irrigation. But a new report released by the Public Policy Institute of California suggests that empty fields may not be the water-saving solution many people assumed. Researchers found that bare fields actually lose between 60 and 90% of their winter rainfall to evaporation before spring even arrives. Very little of that water reaches the aquifer underground. Instead, the report recommends planting low-water winter crops such as wheat, barley, oats, rye, and triticale. After more than 5 years of field studies, researchers found that these crops can often survive on winter rainfall with only a small amount of supplemental irrigation early in the season. Perhaps the biggest surprise? Under the right conditions, these crops can use about the same amount of groundwater as leaving the land completely fallow, while also reducing dust, improving soil health, helping recharge groundwater, and providing forage for California's livestock industry. It's a reminder that sometimes nature works better when something is actually growing. Now to a story that could eventually influence water management throughout the West. The United States Supreme Court has agreed to hear Nebraska's lawsuit against Colorado over the South Platte River Compact, an agreement between the two states that's more than 100 years old. Nebraska argues that Colorado has allowed newer water users to divert more water than the compact allows, leaving downstream users short during the growing season. Nebraska claims it has lost as much as 1.3 million acre-feet of water over the years. Colorado strongly disputes those allegations and says it has complied with the compact all along. The court isn't deciding who's right yet. Its recent order simply means the lawsuit can move forward, with Colorado now required to formally respond. While this case involves the South Platte River, the legal principles could eventually influence interstate water disputes across the West, especially as states face increasing pressure from drought, groundwater depletion, and growing populations. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one. For decades, untreated sewage flowing north from Tijuana has polluted the Tijuana River, forcing repeated beach closures and creating serious public health concerns in Southern California. This week, the Environmental Protection Agency released a progress report showing that several long-awaited infrastructure projects are finally moving forward. Construction has begun on a major new pumping station. New Rivergate improvements are underway. Expansion of the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant continues. Mexico has also exceeded its funding commitments this year, while moving ahead on several rehabilitation projects designed to reduce sewage entering the river. It's encouraging progress towards solving a problem that has frustrated communities on both sides of the border for decades. While engineers work on one visible pollution problem, scientists are warning about another one that's been quietly building underground for generations. A major international study published this month examined nitrate contamination in groundwater around the world. The researchers found that nitrate pollution from fertilizer can remain trapped in underground soils for decades before eventually reaching aquifers. That delay means groundwater quality may continue declining long after better farming practices have already been adopted. The study specifically identifies the arid southwestern United States, including much of the Colorado River Basin, as one of the regions where these underground legacy pollutants may take generations to work their way through the soil. For water managers across the West, that's a sobering reminder that groundwater responds on its own timetable, not ours. The Bureau of Reclamation has issued new fire restrictions across large portions of Arizona and Southern California. Open campfires, charcoal grills, fireworks, tracer ammunition, and several other ignition sources are now prohibited on many federal recreation lands. Violations can result in federal fines or even jail time. So if you're heading out to a reservoir or river, be sure to check local restrictions before lighting anything. Finally, let's take a look at conditions around the West. While much of the eastern United States spent the week dealing with flooding and heavy rainfall, the western story remains drought and wildfire. Tragically, 3 federal firefighters lost their lives battling Colorado's Knolls Fire near Grand Junction. Our thoughts are certainly with their families, friends, and fellow firefighters. The latest U.S. drought monitor shows drought continuing to worsen across northern New Mexico, while soil moisture remains critically low throughout much of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. Arizona reports 70% of its rangeland in poor or very poor condition, while Colorado reports 63%. Looking ahead, forecasters expect another warming trend across much of the West, with little meaningful precipitation expected over the next week. Unfortunately, that means wildfire danger is likely to remain elevated. And that's your Western Water Weekly for the week ending July 4th, 2026. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
That wraps up this week's Western Water Weekly. All of the stories we covered are reported in full at western-water.com. Be sure to check back next Sunday for our next roundup. Thanks for watching.